Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I've never done a video like this before, but surprisingly, I've got a lot of requests to make a video like this, so here I am. Before I hop into the video, I quickly wanted to remind you guys to make sure that you hit the notification bell right next to the subscribe button to make sure you're notified every time I upload a new video. You know YouTube's algorithm, it's been very finicky, so it would really help your girl out, so make sure you do that. And today I'm going to be talking about things that you should never, ever wear to the airport. Or wear them, but at your own risk. So without further ado, I'm just going to hop right in and tell you my top 9. So the first thing that I recommend not wearing to the airport is anything constricting. The only exception is if you have a medical condition and you need to wear compression stockings or whatever. But aside from that, don't wear anything constricting. Don't wear anything that is going to pinch you at the waist when you sit down and it's going to cut off your circulation, or wear any socks that are too tight. Anything in general that is too tight, you're going to feel so uncomfortable, especially if it's a very long flight. Even if you are not on a long flight, I would not recommend wearing anything constricting because you never know if your flight might be delayed and you might be stuck at the airport for much longer than you anticipated. So it's always a good idea to make sure that you wear something comfortable, something roomy, something that you will feel so comfortable in if you have to wear that outfit for hours and hours at a time. The next thing I would never wear to an airport is anything that's a fire hazard. So it could be clothes. Some clothes is more prone to getting lit on fire than others. It could also be products. A lot of beauty products are fire hazard, like aerosol sprays. So leave all of that stuff at home and try not to bring anything with you that can catch fire. And also don't put anything on your body that is more likely to catch fire, like perfumes that have alcohol, or any kind of aerosol sprays like hairsprays. Those are a lot more likely to catch fire, so use at your own risk. Another thing I would highly recommend to never wear to an airport is anything metal. Do not wear belts, do not wear jewelry, do not wear clip-in hair extensions. So as an owner of 2 clip-in hair extension companies, Fancy Hair and Fancy Fringe, shameless mention, I learned the hard way because one time I was flying from Toronto to New York and decided to clip in my fabulous fancy hair extensions into my hair, and you better believe that I set off the alarm detector. You know that screen that they have at security after you come out of that machine that detects metal on you, and these little red dots light up wherever the machine detected that you have metal? My entire head lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. So that is just a heads up for anyone who loves clip-in hair extensions like I do and loves to wear them and travel with them. Do not wear them at the airport. Store them and keep them in your carry-on or in your suitcase and just clip them in when you get to your destination, because trying to explain to the security why my head lit up like a Christmas tree was not something that I would like to experience again. Another thing I would recommend to avoid wearing to the airport are big hats. Now this is probably common sense, but it's not the most comfortable thing to wear. I love hats, especially if I'm going to a warm climate. I love wearing a big wide-brimmed beach hat, but it's a pain in the ass to wear it on the actual plane. Now, I know that a lot of us are concerned about it getting crushed or damaged in our suitcase, but there's actually a way to pack a wide-brimmed hat or a big hat in general in your suitcase without it getting damaged and without changing its shape in any way. So the way that I do it is I fill up the actual part of the hat where you would put over your head with socks, underwear, clean obviously, and make sure that it's filled to the top so that if there were any pressure that was put on top of it, it wouldn't go down. And then I just lay the hat flat down on my suitcase and I pack around the hat. And this trick, I kid you not, works every single time. My hat always comes out of my suitcase perfect and creaseless, so there's no need to wear your hat to the airport. So just like big hats are a big no-no in my opinion to wear to the airport, I also think that big bags are a huge no-no. For the same reason as wearing a big hat, it's a huge inconvenience. It doesn't fit under the seat. If it's a nice designer handbag that you don't want to get ruined, good luck putting it in the overhead compartment. So that's why I advise, if you're traveling, you really don't need such a huge bag, because most of the necessities that you need back at home, you don't need when you're traveling. So just take the bare essentials and keep it in a small bag. I personally like to travel to the airport with a fanny pack. I just put it crossbody style across my chest. That way my hands are hands-free. I have one hand for my carry-on, another hand for my suitcase. And when I'm sitting down in my seat on the airplane, I don't have anything obstructing that space where my long legs need to be. Now this next one is probably pretty obvious, but I thought I would mention it just in case any of you are watching this video and have never been to an airport before, but that is not to wear high heels and not to wear any backless shoes. So taking it back to my first point, you want to be as comfortable as possible when you're going to the airport. The only exception is if you're like a pro high heel walker and are more comfortable wearing high heels than flats, in which case you are a freaking superhero. I personally cannot do that. As much as I love my heels and find my heels super comfortable, I'd rather just wear my sneakers and just forget about it. Backless shoes are also a no-no because they're a lot more likely to fling off. If you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry, they're like the worst shoes to run in. So that's why I always recommend just sticking to comfortable, basic shoes. Speaking of shoes, I always avoid wearing shoes to the airport that are very difficult to take off, like over the knee boots or any shoes that have a ton of laces that I need to untie and tie to get them on and off. For the most obvious reason, if you're going through security where they insist you have to take your shoes off, that is such a pain in the ass. That's why I always make sure that I wear shoes that are not only comfortable, but are super easy to take off and put on. Another mistake that I made several years ago and have since learned from, and that's why I'm sharing this tip with you guys, is not wearing enough layers on the plane. The temperature on the plane most of the time tends to be a lot colder than it is in the airport. That's why I always make sure to wear an extra layer on the plane so that I'm not freezing my butt off. And if you are one of those people that don't like wearing a lot of layers, maybe just pack like a cardigan or a big scarf in your carry-on. That way when you get on the plane, you can kind of gauge the temperature once you're there, and if you need that extra layer, you know that you have it in your carry-on. And of course, something that I would never ever wear to an airport is anything that is a one piece. A jumper, a romper, overalls. The last thing I want to do is remove my entire outfit from top to bottom in the case that I really have to go in the airplane bathroom and try to cram myself into that little tiny cubicle while having my entire outfit hanging off my legs. That is just not a pretty look. That is not something that I like to do. I'm all about comfort and practicality. So that's why I would never wear one piece to the airport. Alright you guys, so that wraps up today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and learned something new. Let me know in the comments below what was your favorite tip, and if you have any tips that I haven't mentioned in this video. I always love learning from you guys and hearing about your experiences. I'm telling you, that hair extension experience at the airport, at the security, was one to remember. So I felt like I had to share it with you guys and prevent that from happening to any of you guys, because it was not fun. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Again, hit the notification bell if you haven't already to make sure that you are notified every time I upload a new video. And with that, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me, and I'll see you in my next one.